Have you ever looked at someone's face, sprinkled with tiny brown dots, and wondered, why do some people get freckles while others don't? Freckles can show up across the nose, scatter over the cheeks, dust the shoulders, or even appear on arms and hands. For some, they're faint and seasonal. For others, they're bold and permanent. They can make someone look sun-kissed year-round, or like they've just stepped out of summer vacation. Today, we're breaking down. Why do some people get freckles? Why they get darker in the sun, and what they reveal about your DNA. They're not dirt. They're not damage in the way many people think. They're actually a fascinating mix of genetics, sunlight, and microscopic chemistry happening right under your skin. Let's get into it, right here, on History of Simple Things. Let's start simple. A freckle is a small, flat spot on the skin that contains a higher concentration of pigment. That pigment is called melanin. Melanin is the natural coloring substance that determines the shade of your skin, hair, and eyes. The more melanin you produce, the darker those features tend to be. The less you produce, the lighter they appear. Freckles form when certain areas of your skin produce more melanin than the surrounding areas. But here's the important part. Freckles aren't raised, and they aren't extra skin cells. They're just tiny clusters where pigment production has gone into overdrive. There are actually two main types of freckles. Ephelides. These are the classic freckles most people think of. They appear in childhood, get darker in summer, and fade in winter. Solar lentigines, often called sunspots or age spots, these are more permanent and usually appear later in life after years of sun exposure. When we talk about freckles in a genetic sense, we're usually referring to ephelides. Freckles don't just pop up for no reason. Sunlight plays a huge role. When your skin is exposed to ultraviolet UV radiation from the sun, it reacts defensively. UV rays can damage skin cells and DNA, so your body tries to protect itself by producing more melanin. That extra pigment acts like a natural shield, absorbing and dispersing harmful rays. In people prone to freckles, this response isn't evenly distributed. Instead of tanning smoothly, certain patches of skin produce more melanin than others. That uneven pigment production shows up as freckles. This is why freckles often appear in childhood after sun exposure, get darker in summer, and fade during colder months with less sun. It's not that the freckles disappear entirely. The pigment just becomes less active without UV stimulation. Now we get to the real reason why some people get freckles and others don't. Genetics. Freckles are strongly linked to variations in a gene called MC1R, short for melanocortin-1 receptor. This gene helps control how your body produces melanin. There are two main types of melanin: eumelanin, brown or black pigment, and pheomelanin, red or yellow pigment. People with certain variations of the MC1R gene tend to produce more pheomelanin and less eumelanin. This combination is commonly associated with fair skin, red or light-colored hair, light eyes, and freckles. That's why freckles are most common among people of Northern European ancestry. The genetic variants that affect MC1R are more frequently found in populations from places like Ireland and Scotland. But freckles aren't exclusive to redheads. Many people with brown or blonde hair can carry MC1R variants and develop freckles too. If one or both of your parents have freckles, your chances increase significantly. It's not guaranteed, but the genetic predisposition plays a powerful role. This is where things get interesting. Freckles themselves are not harmful. They're not cancer. They're not scars. They're simply pigment. However, their appearance is tied to UV exposure, and excessive UV exposure does increase the risk of skin damage and skin cancer. People who freckle easily often have less natural protection from UV rays because they produce less melanin. That means they may burn more easily instead of tanning. So freckles aren't dangerous, but they can be a sign that your skin is reacting strongly to sunlight. That's why sunscreen is still important, even if you love the way freckles look. If freckles are triggered by UV exposure, reducing sun exposure can minimize their appearance. Wearing sunscreen, protective clothing, and limiting direct sunlight can reduce the darkening of existing freckles and help prevent new ones from forming. However, if you're genetically predisposed, you can't completely eliminate the tendency. The blueprint is already written in your DNA. Laser treatments and skin lightening procedures exist, but they don't change your genetics. If you continue sun exposure, freckles can return. Freckles haven't always been viewed the same way throughout history. In some cultures and time periods, freckles were seen as undesirable, something to cover up or lighten. In others, they've been celebrated as charming and unique. Today, freckles are often embraced as a natural feature. Some people even use makeup to create artificial freckles for that sun-kissed look. It's fascinating that something once hidden is now intentionally recreated. Freckles have become part of identity, a visual reminder of heritage, genetics, and individuality. Freckles fade and darken with the seasons. They can appear in childhood and shift over time. They're harmless on their own, yet tied to the powerful energy of the sun. So the next time you notice freckles dusted across someone's nose, you'll know those tiny dots are actually a visible trace of genetics, sunlight, and thousands of years of human history. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.